It's Sienna Willison from Our Blooming Catholic Life, and you won't believe what I found in my living room. Now, I have someone at church, I call her my godmother because she is always slipping me packages, and this must have been in one of them, and I missed it because it's so tiny. Look, it's another little office of the Blessed Virgin Mary. It is smaller than the Baronius Press edition, so it's even a little bit smaller, and you're like, why is it black? Can you read that print, folks? It includes the office of the dead. And why is that going to be important? It is another office that we're allowed to say, and of course it's in the back of the 4-volume of the Liturgy of the Hours. But this is super handy to take, especially if you're a person who likes to go to funerals or who has a devotion to praying for the dead and dying in the souls in purgatory. This may be the one for you. Now, of course, it's obvious to me now, this is the Baronius Press edition. Of course, Angelus Press was also going to have an edition. Again, besides the tiny little bit of size difference, this one has a much more flexible cover. I would say this is thin cardboard like the shirt board. And it makes the whole thing very flexible if you're tucking it in a pocket. This is probably, it's sturdier. It's not only got the cardboard, but it's got a little leatherette on it. Of course, it's got the golden edges. This is probably better if you're sticking in a purse or a backpack. It's going to be a little bit more sturdy than this one, but you could definitely make use of this. But you can see how flexible one is over the other, right? Okay, so make your choices there. But let's dive in and see what it is, because these are contain both the English and the Latin, but it's done a little differently, and so you may have a preference. Let's get in here. Again, this is the Angelus Press. The black one is the Angelus Press. It does say the text is from the Little Office of the Blessed Virgin Mary and the Office of the Dead from the 1915 Benzinger Brothers edition, with updated punctuation and slight rewording of some familiar passages in English. The content of the offices was revised in conformity with the norms of the typical edition of the Roman Breviary, first published in 1961. So these were both meet the standards of the norms done in 1961. And I'll tell you, I went ahead, this is not a book overview or preview, I've looked at it. The Latin is the same. If you're praying in Latin, there's not a huge difference text-wise. But once you get to the English translation, the text is different throughout. Is it different in meaning or significantly different? Maybe not. So let's just jump in here. Let's see some more. Of course, I'm not going to go ahead and read the foreword and introduction. I'm going to let you do that. I'm really looking at the difference here in the English and Latin. And that's why I'm not doing one of the overhead shots where you can see it. I'll show you occasionally. So you can see the print. In the little book, the print is actually bigger, okay? And so here are the opening prayers. It's very similar looking words, 2 columns, right? One English, one Latin. And now let's look at that. So in the Baronius Press book, it says, "Open thou my mouth, O Lord, to bless thy holy name. Cleanse my heart also from all vain, perverse, and distracting thoughts. Enlighten my understanding, inflame my affections, that I may recite this office of the Blessed Virgin Mary with worthy attention and devotion, and may deserve to be heard in the sight of thy divine majesty, through Christ our Lord. Amen." So this is the prayers that could be said before all offices. They're all optional. So once it "Open thou my mouth, O Lord," this one over here, the angel says, "O Lord, open thou my mouth, that it may bless thy holy name. Cleanse to my heart from all vain, evil." Baronius Press called that perverse, which is a more literal translation from the Latin. The Latin literally says perverses. Or wandering. This one said distracting. This guy says wandering thoughts. So they're very, very nuanced, very tiny differences between the English translations, which it did warn you. Another difference is in the optional prayers after the office. They include the creed. And when we jump into Matins is where it gets different. Baronius Press continues with the side-by-side column. However, the Angelus book goes with the 1-page Latin, 1-page English version. What? So that has facing pages, English and Latin over here. And again, this print is a little bit bigger. They both have, we haven't probably talked about this yet. See these little symbols? They're the same in either book, and that symbol says make the sign of the cross. People give it different names, but that says bless yourself, make the sign of the cross. After that, the hymns are even slightly worded differently. Let me catch up over here. So the hymn for Matins is the Lord whom earth and sea and sky, or the Lord whom earth and air and sea, with one adoring voice proclaim, with one adoring voice resound. Who rules them all in majesty, agreed, enclosed himself in Mary's frame. This one says, in Mary's heart a cloister found. Still slightly different. What's up with that? And let's look. They are using exact same Latin. I will tell you though, the difference is, can you see it, friends, in the Latin? Aha, we have extra accent marks in this one. There's no accent marks in the Latin over here. So that is the Angelus Press has those. After that, the explanations of what to say when are all the same that I found. I'm not going to guarantee you that, but they seem to be pretty much the same. And this left page, right page stays the same pretty much throughout. Again, all the explanations are here as to like from Candlemas to Advent, during Advent, from Christmas to Candlemas. Like that's all there. And when we come back to the Office of the Dead, I find it really funny. The Latin page, the explanations are still in English. That's just me. I find that funny. And the psalm isn't done in Roman numerals, where this one has it, I think, always in Roman numerals and never in Arabic. And this one has them always in Arabic and never in Latin. You'd think they would do, the Arabic number over here and the Latin, the Roman numbers over here, but nobody does that. That does kind of crack me up. I don't know what that is. After that, I don't know how different this is because it's not in any of the other books. I didn't go get my 4-volume to check, but I do feel like this is slightly different than you're going to find in the 4-volume, just from what I've seen. It has a number of lessons, and we've talked about this a tiny smidge before. At the end, there are the conclusion prayers. Oh, nope. Okay. At the end, there are the divisions of the office. Remember I said like from Candlemas to Advent, during Advent, Christmas till Candlemas, Eastertide. It's a slightly different wording than in here, I believe. Composition, it tells you exactly, it's like the breakdown, the formula, without everything written out for doing the little office. Like Loud's has 3 psalms with antiphons. The Canticle of 3 Children with antiphon. Psalm 148 with antiphon, the little chapter. Hymn followed by a versicle and a response. Canticle of Zachary with antiphon. Prayer followed by the concluding versicles and responses. So it gives you the formulas for saying the offices. And then the concluding prayers are way back here at 244. And this book doesn't have ribbons, so you can't mark them. In here I have them marked by the yellow ribbon, and the blue ribbon tells me where I'm praying that day. So this doesn't have that. You could supply your own little ribbons, or get one of those ones. You can get like a paper clip and tie ribbons on it, so you can put the paper clip on the back cover, because you're not squeezing it in here like you do in the liturgy in the 4-volume. You're not slipping a little ribbon packet in there, but you could hook a paper clip onto the back and then move your ribbons as you need it. The rubrics tell you when you should be sitting or kneeling, the sign of the cross. It does tell you the sign of cross is made differently when saying certain words at the beginning of compline, as well as the optional prayer before the office. Bowing, it tells you when to bow at the names of Jesus and Mary, at the Gloria Patri, and the doxology in hymns. A bow may substitute for kneeling while sitting if that posture is not available. Tells you the rubrics for saying the Te Deum, the A word, which we can't say right now, Gloria Patri, the Anthem of the Blessed Virgin, Feast of the Annunciation, Dominus Vobiscum, which is, I know that at least is discussed in this one, conclusion of Matins in private recitation, and indulgences. I don't know that the other books included anything about the indulgences. Maybe they did or not. This says there are indulgences for saying the little office of the Blessed Virgin Mary. A partial indulgence is granted to those who recite the little office of the Blessed Virgin Mary. And that was given, it tells you exactly where. You can look it up. In 1999. So there is a partial indulgence granted there. I'm assuming the normal requirements all apply. This book then did not have any music in it. I'm just showing you how flexible it is. There's no music in it, so there were no musical notes, no chant notes. The hymns are in there, but there's no music to accompany it. This had the music in. There are advantages and disadvantages, but you're probably going to end up wanting to pick one as a group if you're doing it as a group, because the wording in the English is slightly different. Now, if you are doing this in Latin, the Latin does not appear to be different. So if you're doing it in Latin, there's not a huge difference, except this includes the Office of the Dead and this one includes the chant. So if you're doing it in Latin, you're going to make your choices there. Again, this is Baronius Press. This is Angelus Press. They're both newer editions, but both based off of earlier texts, and then they meet the 1961... now I've lost the words. The 1961 Editio Typica of the Roman Breviary that was permitted by Summarum Pontificum. Oh, lastly, this doesn't have an image of the Blessed Virgin Mary in it. I couldn't find a single one, whereas our other two editions each have a piece of artwork in the front, and you might want to attach one to these blank covers. You could just attach one. You could glue it in, make a little pocket, use double-sided tape. I'd use something acid-free, but you could add a little piece of artwork, or definitely add in some holy cards to mark your places, since there are no ribbons. That's it, friends. So our third version of the little office of the Blessed Virgin Mary. Fans have been showing me which one they have, and this is probably the most common one that people are using. But let me know if you know of another edition that we should be checking out, or you have any comments or questions about them. Put it in the comments below, and I'll shoot it out to you as soon as I can. Holy Week is coming up, so I'll probably be answering comments a little more slowly than I normally do. God bless you, friends. Bye.